Actors, we've all got issues, so let's talk about them. You're listening to Actors with Issues, a self-help podcast for actors by actors. Hello, ladies, gents, and non-binary friends, and welcome back to another episode of Actors with Issues, the self-help podcast for actors by actors. Featuring special guests from TV, film, and Broadway, we take a deep dive into the world of entertainment and discuss what it means to be an actor today. I'm your host, Juan Ayala, and joining me today is an actress, singer, and dancer currently performing in the mega hit Death Becomes Her at the Lunt-Fontanne Theater on Broadway. Sarita Colon is here. Welcome to the show, Sarita. Thank you for being here.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. I did reveal before we started recording, I have seen the show. Everyone, please run and go see it.
Yes, go see it.
Focus
Go see
there.
it.
But absolutely phenomenal show. Huge congratulations. I
Thank
literally, I was telling my partner who went to the show with me, we haven't laughed that hard at a theater in a very, very long time. So
you.
it was just so dazzling and so just it was amazing. Just can't gush enough about it. And this is your Broadway debut, so
This
what a way to
is.
start.
I
Um,
know.
but yeah, take us down the road to Broadway. What was early life like for you? When did you first get bitten by the bug?
Oh my goodness. Once again, thank you for having me.
Yeah.
I'm a Boricua. I'm Puerto Rican, very proud. And it's in our blood. Culturally, music, dance, it's like what I grew up with. It was always in my house. Um, so it was just always around. And then my mom, I'm the youngest of four girls, and she put all of us in dance.
Mm,
And so we all went to dance, and I loved it so much, and I loved performing. And I continued, and I went to a dance studio in Michigan and competed in dance there, then went to college and studied in college. And then I was just like, I just love performing. I've always loved performing. I always went to festivals in Puerto Rico in the summer and
mm,
watched live musicians and dancers. And I was like, oh gosh, I love this. I love this.
yeah.
I love the audience, the feeling, the energy. And then, movies have inspired me, Sister Act 2, just all these amazing movies in my
Yeah.
life and live shows. Just that's what got me wanting to do it. And I was like, this is what I actually want to do.
Yeah. I feel like the 80s and 90s kids grew up at
Yeah.
such a pivotal time in film. You
Yes.
have, and it wasn't a musical, but you have movies like Footloose that are all about dance and
Yes.
all of that. And you have all the Disney movies that came out in that period that, inspired a whole generation of kids to
Mhm.
want to be on Broadway. And you've done many productions over the years. To name a few, In the Heights, On Your Feet. You've done shows like The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. You're on The Tonight Show.
Yes.
Which in particular is a standout where you feel that you really learned something new about yourself or your process, or just performing in general?
Oh, wow. I mean,
I'm sure all of them,
well,
but
yes, all of them for sure. One, I have to say, I was blessed to and continue to work with Sarah Ogliebe, who has really, really changed my career. And I owe her so much. I love her so much. She's a choreographer, um, an icon in my eyes, an icon. Uh, and she kind of paved the way for me with my TV career, with live TV, SNL and The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon. And I've loved every moment of it, that whole experience. And I continue to dance with him as well. And I met her in 2017, and it was SNL with Jimmy was hosting. And and doing so many jobs with her and seeing how she leads a room and how she leads with grace and positivity, and she cares about the dancers and what they need, and then learning what it is like to be on live TV and cameras and camera blocking
Mm,
and the lingo and what that is and how you have to navigate and manipulate movement is very different to camera than on stage. So I've learned a great deal with my experiences working with her and on the Tonight Show and doing a lot of live television And then bringing it into film or things like that. Now, going into theater is very different. Um, I was on tour with On Your Feet, and that was a whole different learning experience
Mhm.
being on tour as opposed to being, in one place.
Yeah.
So, yeah, being in a cast, in a group, traveling a show, and everything that comes along with that. Um, Yeah, it's opened my eyes and made me think of like how to take care of your body, your spirit,
Hmm.
your how to be able to move cities to cities and perform, and what is that like? What is your process like during the day and coming up? So it's a that is more of an encompassing
Yeah.
experience, like the tour and the theater life, because it's 8 shows a week. It's like your life. It's what you live and breathe, as opposed to TV, where it's maybe 1 or 2 days or
Mhm.
like a week shoot and then it's done. It's a couple,
Right.
it's over. So I've learned a great deal. I've been very grateful and blessed to have had mentors and people around me that have showed me the way.
And with Death Becomes Her, how early in the process did you get involved there? Were you part of the workshops and the out of town tryout, or was the Broadway production your entry point?
No, my entry point to this was the workshop.
Wow.
I auditioned, and I was at a place and I was like, is this gonna happen for me?
Mm.
Is this actually gonna happen for me? Because I was just at a crossroads. I was like, okay, maybe I should focus more on the TV film aspect. Is Broadway going to happen? I don't know. And I'm like, okay. So I was reading this book called Signs, and it's a medium that wrote this book, and she does readings for people on how to get signs from people that have passed. And in between those chapters, there's a thing she writes about how you should ask the universe to send you signs if something is important for you. There's always signs coming. So I'm like, okay, all right, let me give this a try. So I, in my head, was like, okay, universe, if Broadway is meant for me, this was like my last try.
Hmm.
I was like, what else can I do? I'm like, all right, send me a white butterfly. Send me a sign of a white butterfly. So I'm like, okay, whatever. Read that, let it go into the universe, manifesting. I'm a big person manifesting. Like, okay, I let it go. Audition comes up for Death Becomes Her. I'm like, okay, it's the lab, the workshop. Great. I go in, kill it. Lovely. It was an excellent dance call.
Hmm.
And then come back again for a callback. Do great, singing, sides, great. And it wasn't until the final callback, where there was a side we learned. It was actually the Chagall. At that point, we all read for the Chagall
Hmm.
character
Yeah.
and the little card. And they asked for like a little business card. And I was like, okay, it's hot pink. I'm like, you know, maybe I have something around the house. I can make a card that's easy. I can act with it. So I'm looking around, and at the time, in my apartment at the front table, I had this little bowl of business cards. I was like, oh, I'll just take a business card. Perfect. I'll use it for the audition. Final callback. I'm super excited. I'm like, this is great. I find there's a hot pink business card, and I'm like, amazing. Perfect. I'll use this. I pick it up, I turn it, and on the other side of that business card was a picture of a white butterfly.
I love
And
that.
I was like, okay, like I just started laughing. I was like, this is the universe saying, yeah,
Yeah.
this is it. And I just felt it. I was just like, oh my gosh, this is like crazy. So I'm like, okay. And then went to the audition. I just felt like, okay, so confident. I was like, this is it. I was meant to do this in this production with these people. Everything just felt aligned for the first time.
Hmm.
And I got it. And it's so beautiful. And so I started with the lab. And it was about like over a year ago, I want to say,
Hmm.
the whole process. Yeah, because the lab we did in August of 2023.
Hmm.
Yeah, 2023, August of 2023. Part of the workshop, which was amazing, and it was a month long. And then we waited, and then we heard back later before the 2024 that I got the Chicago run.
Mhm.
So I was like, yes, this is amazing. I'm so excited. So, we started rehearsing for that around March, April. And then, we were in Chicago, we did that run. And then after that, I was like, okay, it's gonna happen. It's gonna make my debut. It is happening. And then, yeah, and then then we got my agent called. It was like, you're making your Broadway debut, is happening. And I was like, yes, yes, it is. I was so excited. But yeah, I've been a part of the process since the workshops in Chicago and now till Broadway. So it's
Yeah.
been a beautiful journey. I've learned so much and I'm glad I've always wanted to be a part of the original cast and with the show starting
Mhm.
from the ground up. So I'm very fortunate to have had that experience with Chris Gattelli and Marco and the whole Universal team and music and just everything. It's just been an honor. I'm very, very lucky and fortunate.
And I'm sure it's like picking a favorite child at this point, but do you have a favorite number from the show, like a favorite scene that you're in or anything?
Ooh, I love the sassiness of I Warned You, which is
Yeah.
the opening of the second act.
Mhm.
I love that choreography and I love that song and Michelle kills it. The choreography I love. It's more my style. It's just sassy, like commercially
Yeah.
kind of dancing. So yeah, I would say I warned you.
You mentioned sort of like your touring life was very different than sort of being in like in one place, but did you feel that there were any like sort of growing pains as the show evolved? Or did it just feel like a mini tour, like you kind of unplug and move to a new venue and it's like no time has passed?
Uh, well, the whole process is, I mean, there's so much to learn and everything is constantly changing, and you have
Mhm.
to be ready for it. And I think working in TV and film helped me with that
Mhm.
because in TV and film, things are like, oh, that's not working, and you have to be up to changing it and be quick on your feet and be like, okay, let's go. And I think learning that from TV aspect and bringing it into theater has helped that you have to be quick on your feet, and when changes come, you have to be open-minded and ready to go. And it is what it is, it's for, the benefit of the show and what's good for the show. So there were constant changes that we had to do throughout the process that you just have to be mentally ready for. And it's not easy. I think the whole process from the ground up, it's not an easy one. It's very tedious, it's long hours, it's
Yeah.
exhausting on the body, on the mind. So you just have to be mentally prepared and tour. It's different because we were in one place. You know what I mean? Like in Chicago, we didn't like to. I mean, we were in apartment buildings and it was nice and we made it our own home and whatnot. But still, like this is 8 shows a week and then rehearsals and then tech. It's that is the life. That is the gig.
Yeah.
It's like you live and breathe this, and it can be tiring, but you just have to mentally stay in it and find those moments to have breaks and whatnot. Um, but yeah, it wasn't like how touring was. Touring is very different.
Yeah.
It was, I wouldn't say it was like that, but yeah, you just have to be willing with the changes. And there were a lot of changes from the workshop to Chicago to what it is now. Oh my gosh, it was like a different show.
Yeah.
But you just have to be up for it and ready for it. But yeah.
So with performing in theater, especially regionally and touring, you have these set dates already. You know when the run is over. You know when you have to, start looking for the next job and whatnot. Um, how have you navigated that sort of like pre-death becomes her? How have you navigated that downtime between jobs and whatnot? And what advice do you have for any young actors who are going through the same, sort of going from shorter run to shorter run and maybe feeling pressure to like find that next job? How have you navigated that whole thing?
I always, part of the success of an actor, of a performer, is those moments of rest, the moments of break, the moments of reflection, the moments that you can just take a minute to yourself. Resting is just imperative as performing, as the work. Rest is needed.
Mm.
So in those times, in those breaks, I I don't necessarily, I rest, yes, but I don't necessarily stop. I continue to train. I continue to do other things that I love. It might not be the work. It might not be, acting or singing and doing dancing. I might be like, you know what? I want to do this in my break.
Mm.
And I want to do something else. Like it's okay to be multifaceted. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To not just pigeonhole yourself in a box. And I've learned for so long that I did that to myself. I'm like, oh, this is what I want to do. And it's like, no, there's so much you can learn
Yeah.
by doing so many things that then you can bring in back into your acting. So
Mhm.
I, go do other things or, go travel the world, go learn something new, go learn a different language, I mean, everything can help you as an actor, can impact your life moving
Yeah.
forward into any role, into any audition of what you can bring. Those breaks are amazing, spending quality time with family and friends that you don't usually get when you're in a show because it's so hectic and so busy. Have those moments. And also, continue to train if that's what you want to do. I think that's also very important in networking and meeting new people, taking workshops, putting yourself out there in many different ways to be seen, to be noticed. We have platforms in social media. There's just lots of things that you can do. In those breaks, YouTube channels. I don't know. It just there's just so much
Yeah.
podcasts, like I'm sure like there's just so many things that you could do in between, read books, do
Hmm.
this, join a club, stay in shape. There's just those in between moments are the times that we can learn and grow to then be ready for the next audition, to be stronger.
Yeah, and we have what we call our sort of $1 million question, because it's the most asked one. If you go on like to the acting subreddit, to these Facebook groups for actors and whatnot. But so post college conservatory, a lot of young actors feel like they're kind of just thrust into the world with a headshot, a resume, and if they're lucky, they've got a reel already. But from your experience, what can actors do to like get the ball rolling on their careers when they feel stuck? Because a lot of times I feel that actors feel like, oh, I need to get an agent like immediately, or I need to get a manager. Otherwise, like, there's what am I going to do and how am I going to get auditions and whatnot. But from your experience, like, what can they do to get the ball rolling in that way?
I think, like I said kind of before, I think putting yourself out there, it's scary. This world is scary, and this industry can be very what's it called? I'm trying to think of the word intimidating,
Hmm.
right? Very intimidating. And everybody's this, and then you see people on social media and they're past it. You're like, why am I not doing that? Like, what, you compare yourself. But I think, you know, putting yourself out there, jump off that cliff. Just be like, okay, this is where I'm gonna go. There's so many platforms and things that you can join. Like I said, like there's you know clubs, there's groups, there's actors workshops.
Hmm.
You just have to do the homework. Also do
Yeah.
the homework, do the work, be like, okay, research where are people at hanging out, what are free classes that I can take an acting class,
Hmm.
meet new people. I've met so many people in acting classes and dance classes that I've worked with in jobs that I'm like, oh my God. And then, that person that, recommends you to that person, it really
Yeah.
is networking. In this business, you have to network.
Hmm.
There are moments, and I always say, finding the comfort in discomfort. It's
Hmm.
going to feel like crap. It's going to feel weird. You're going to feel scared. You're going to feel like, oh my God, I can't do this. But find comfort in that and be like, it's going to work out. You're going to be okay. At the end of the day, it always works out. You're
Yeah.
going to be okay. It always works out. You just have to put yourself out there and network and meet new people. Don't be afraid of meeting new people. Don't be afraid of reaching out, asking questions. It does not hurt to ask a question. Were they going to say the worst? No. And you move on. It's just
Yeah.
like, Don't be afraid to reach out on social media, to join things, to make new friends, to connect with people. I feel like people aren't connecting as much anymore because of our phones and da da da. But like actually go meet people and connect. And I love that. I love taking acting classes. I love taking dance classes. I love training. I think training is important. So when you feel stuck, do also like what makes you happy. Like what brings joy to you.
Yeah.
Sometimes this business can be so rigorous and it's just like you just feel like it's like Groundhog Day. It's like the same thing. You're like nothing is working. Like what am I gonna do? I need money. I'm struggling. I just like where am I at? And let me tell you, even when you make it, you still have those moments. It does
Yeah.
not change. Like it's just you're I guess you have more experience, but just there's many people I know in the business that are actors, Hollywood movies, blah, 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 that still feel stuck at moments are like, what am I gonna do?
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't necessarily stop. This business is just so fast and keeps going and keeps going. So you just gotta kind of keep up with it, but also find what makes you happy, and that will come forward in anything you do and how you connect with people and how you feel during those moments. And so if you're out of college and you have a headshot in this, go take a class, go meet new people,
Mm.
do your homework, research what casting directors and things are looking for. Because a lot of acting classes, at the end of the acting class, there's casting directors that watch.
Right.
You know?
Showcases, things like that.
There's
Yeah.
there's people that are watching in some dance classes, like at Steps on Broadway. They do spotlight classes. There's agents that sit in on those spotlight classes. Go take one of those classes, go introduce yourself to that agent. Hi, blah blah blah. Follow up. Go meet a dance teacher and be like, I love and go keep making relationships, I say. Keep making those relationships and building on those moments and being seen. You know, there was a moment during auditioning for Death Becomes Her where I was Tara Rubin casted our show. And I remember auditioning for several shows prior to Death Becomes Her, but it happened to be with Tara Rubin was casting so much. And
Mhm.
I'm just like, and I was always seeing the same casting directors. Frankie
Mhm.
Ramirez, shout out, I love you. Um, and I would always see him, and then we got to a point where I just had him, we just chatted and we were just talking, and it's just
Yeah.
like making relations. People see you, people know you. Once you constantly are seen and are out and about, and we're like, oh, I remember you from that. Yeah, I remember from that. Yeah, I have seen you around. I have seen you here. So it's just
Mhm.
continue to put yourself out there. Don't be afraid to fail. You're gonna feel stuck a million times throughout your career in this business.
Yeah.
It's not gonna change. It's just how you bounce back from it. But it's making connections.
We are coming close to the end of our time. So we always end with a game.
Okay.
So you get to pick a number, one, two, or three, and that determines what game we're playing.
Oh, three.
Three. Alrighty. We're gonna do, it's a game of this or that. This is easy. Coffee or tea?
Tea. Green tea.
Morning person or night owl?
It depends. Right now I'm a night owl because of the show, but really I'm a morning person.
Yeah. Film or TV?
Oh, TV.
Drama or comedy?
Oh, it depends on the mood. Comedy. I like to laugh.
Hero or villain?
Oh, villain.
Stage or screen?
Screen.
Rehearsal or improv?
Oh my gosh. Oh, this is a good one. Um, Improv. I'll say improv. It's so
Mm.
fun. I like to, yeah, improv.
Window seat or aisle?
Aisle.
Same. People, my boyfriend thinks I'm crazy for that. He loves window
No,
seats. I'm
because I
like, I
need
need
to
to
get up and
stretch.
out. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Orchestra section or balcony?
Ooh. But it depends on the theater. Like our theater
Mm.
at the La Fontaine, the one of the best rows in the house is the front row on the mezzanine. It's like
Because
the
it's
best,
close. Yeah, you guys are close
it's
to it.
just the way it's set up.
Yeah,
Not to say all, all the seats are great, but that one is like one of the front row of the mezzanine is great.
yeah.
So
Here,
an hour in our theater, I say the front row of the mezzanine.
right. Period piece or modern day project?
Modern day project.
Second to last one. Would you rather the ability to speak any language fluently or speak English in any accent authentically?
Okay, repeat that.
Yeah. So, would you rather the ability to speak every language fluently or speak English in every accent authentically?
No, speak every language fluently. Yeah, that'd be so good. That'd be amazing.
And a last question, in 10 words or less, what advice would you give to a young actor?
Um, Believe in yourself and never give up. I believed in myself and I never gave up, and it led me to here, even when I thought it was going, even when I didn't believe it was going to happen, it did. So
Mm,
truly never give up. Timing, it will happen.
awesome. Short and sweet. Love it. Sarita, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us today. Really, really appreciate it. And again, congrats on the show.
Thank you.
Everyone, run, do not walk to go see Death Becomes Her at the Lunt-Fontanne Theater on Broadway right now. And for anyone who wants to give you a follow on social media, where can they find you?
Oh, on Instagram at Sariri, Sariri 15. And I really don't do Facebook. And TikTok, TikTok is weird, but Sariri.
Awesome, Sarita. Again, thank you so, so much
Thank
for chatting
you,
with us today. Really
Juan.
appreciate it.
It was a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for joining us. Actors with Issues is hosted and produced by Juan Ayala. If you enjoyed today's episode, subscribe to our YouTube channel or on the podcast platform you're listening to. Visit actorswithissues.com for exclusive news and reviews, and give us a follow on Instagram and TikTok at Actors with Issues.